We've got this story from People. Video show Chicago police firing 96 shots in less than 1 minute during deadly traffic stop. Dexter Reed was killed during that stop. Now, how come? You know what? I did this on my earlier, so I'll just do this right now. I'll just fix the headline while we're here. Let's see, article headline, and here's a text, and we'll some editorial guidelines here for people. Let's put man shoots at cops is killed after they return fire. And there we go, people. There we go. The headline has now been fixed. I did that in real time. Was not hard. People magazine. Maybe you could, that could be your title for this article. But unfortunately, it's not. Almost every major news outlet is writing the headline like this. The pictures they're showing of him. Let's see if People magazine has it. They show him like in his graduation, and I'm like, look, we get it. People have good photos. They have bad photos. But this is a video where they're like, why was he even stopped? They say he didn't have a seatbelt on. He gets pulled over. He appears to have something covering his face. The cop says, don't roll your window up. He's just rolling his window up. And she's like, stop. She backs up, pulls out her weapon. There's several officers surrounding the vehicle screaming, stop, roll the window down. And then all of a sudden you hear bang, bang, bang. And they all run screaming, shots fired, shots fired. One of the cops got shot. So then they open fire on the vehicle. And then he comes out, dies. They find a vehicle. They find a gun in the passenger seat. So the question is like, why did he roll up his window and not get out of the car? He had a gun.
But he shot through his window, or did the window was still cracked and he fired out the window at someone?
Through the window. It does look like in the video, like glass may go flying or something. So he may have opened fire. The media has been very careful in how they reported this. The police have said he shot a cop. Cop got shot.
Yeah, when I search his name on Brave Search, Dexter Reed, it says a 26-year-old black man was shot and killed by Chicago police officers during a traffic stop on March 21st, 2024.
Yeah, they always make it look like as the police going around attacking Afro-Americans, right? It's just like they build up, even in the media, with these headlines, this hatred toward the police, up to the movement defund the police. To me, the police should be paid so much more. When I see the crime scene in America, I would make a movement to increase the salaries of the police and stop harassing them in the media and let them do their job. I mean, to me, it just sounds crazy.
Look at WGN9 Chicago. COPA. This is cop oversight. Police fired 96 times after being fired upon in fatal Humboldt Park shooting last month. Hey, that's an acceptable headline. How about that one?
I accept it.
After they were fired upon. But look what happens when you Google this. Look at all the stories. Head of Chicago Police Oversight wants officers stripped of powers. Dexter Reed body camera footage shows 96 shots fired. Deadly Chicago traffic stop where police fired 96 shots raises questions about use of force. Dexter Reed shot and killed by police after traffic stop. None of these, even the New York Post, none of them say. And look at Washington Post does. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm sad that somebody died here. Okay, I don't want that to be the case.
Obviously.
But when they complain that whenever a person is convicted of a crime or arrested for a crime, they use these horrible photos. Well, dude, this guy is accused of shooting at cops 11 times, striking one of them, and then they returned fire. And this is the photo you choose to use?
Yeah, even Jeffrey Dahmer has a beautiful college picture at his graduation,
Yeah, they can post that one of him from now on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying this is them trying to manufacture another George Floyd just in time for the election.
Did you see the video of his mother?
They killed my son.
He was just riding in his car and they killed him and then she faints.
Yep.
Yeah, so she's, bolstering bolster that narrative quite nicely.
She said he just was riding his car and they killed him?
He said, I'm going for a ride. That's all he was doing. Why did they kill him? It's like,
and then she
shot
faints.
at them.
She's like,
because she's lying in public. She's like, I can't take it anymore. I did wrong.
I think it's fair to say that there's a possibility he didn't fire on them. A scared cop fired first, and that's why maybe some news outlets are trying to be careful. But when even the oversight agency said, no, they were fired on first, it's like, okay, well, then that's the premise we operate under. They found a gun in his car. Occam's razor suggests the cops did not accidentally shoot him, pull an acorn scenario where they think they're being shot at, kill a guy, and then have a gun to plant. That's movie made up stupid BS. Hey, I don't trust Chicago cops. I got stories. But Occam's razor here, guys. The simple solution is a dude who did not want to get out of his car. I wonder why. Who was covering his face and rolling his window up, had a reason not to, apparently, and it was a gun, and then he used it on them. There you go.
So it's still unknown if he opened fire first?
No, even police oversight said he did.
He did?
Yeah, the body camera footage shows the cops are in the vehicle. You hear gunshots go off and the cops run, screaming, shots fired, shots fired. I'm being very specific about what the video shows. Oversight then said he fired on them first. So I don't know what else you do. Like Occam's razor, the least amount of assumptions. Yeah, that's him shooting. A cop got shot. I don't think another cop just like shot a cop in the leg.
Yeah.
Well, this is the modern state of politics in this country, I suppose.
You know, they want to embolden criminals and demonize police and the law and order. That's all they're trying to fight, law and order.
Mm-hmm. And just like with Trump, there's no pivot. You know, I mean, like they're doing the same stuff with Trump this election cycle that they did in the first election cycle, just trying to make the same thing work again. And perhaps this is another instance of that. Like they're just like, okay, well, let's do George Floyd 2.0. Can we make that work?
Yeah, because they want
to.
I don't think they want riots. A lot of people are saying they want to make riots happen before an election. No, they want to bolster Black Lives Matter and that narrative and blame Trump.
Yeah, they were waiting for Trump to get elected to incite another riot.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, after Trump's president, then they can claim he's a dictator and try and remove him or something.
Yeah.
Mega Mikey says a year ago, Dexter Reed was charged on 3 counts of unlawful use of a firearm. Also, they never used his mugshot for the cover photo. That's why police pulled him over. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I also read that he had tinted windows or something. Tinted windows are a quick way to get pulled out of your car in Chicago because I believe beyond 35%, less than 35% tint, then they're illegal. So that means like that's a decent amount of light blocking, 35%. It means only 35% of light can actually get through the tint. This is fairly dark. And then what ends up happening is a cop can't see what's going on. You roll your window up and now they're like, okay, that's a threat. You won't get out of your vehicle and this is what you get.
Man, I'm not sure what are you thinking? My creativity about that. I'm just so drained from the Civil War movie and these like bouts of street violence. Like it doesn't bring me any joy. It stresses me out. I love to make great things and it's like hard to watch this sometimes. Like it's important to acknowledge, but God, you know, healing, I want to heal the brain too. Were you gonna say something about it?
It sounds like you're just overwhelmed by both the fictional representations of crime and the real life crime we're analyzing right now.
Maybe that's what's going on.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of explosions earlier today in the movie theater for like 2 hours. It was pretty intense.
Is that a prediction? Did you feel like a sort of prediction, something that is likely to come to reality soon?
Not like that. No, I think a peaceful fascist takeover is more likely where people start putting themselves in pods and just plugging in and like plugging their veins into like a nutrition dump and they're like,
we're there.
Yeah.
This is literally what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You get a letter in the mail saying jury duty and people crumple it up and throw it in the garbage and they're like, I ain't doing that. And then you end up with someone facing very serious charges and the government is like, we want to put him in jail forever. And if you want to go home, you have to say yes. And then the jurors are like, I don't care about this guy. I just want to go home. Fine, whatever you want to do. Bye. That's where we're at. So it is. You get a dictatorship when regular people are not interested in jury duty.
You're right. The era of 12 Angry Men isn't really what we're living in now. I mean, there's not really going to be that one lone voice. I mean, I guess there are people like that actually would stand up for some sort of principles or they'd really dig into a case and say, no, I think all the people in this room are wrong. But I think the capacity for people to express that is pretty low, generally speaking.
And those jurors are losing work days. The longer they stay there,
right.
I don't know if they're not getting paid. I don't know how jury dirty work. Jury dirty.
They get a modified payment.
They get a modified.
We're never going to. The system's never going to be fixed. Congress is never going to pass a bill. There's no incentive for corrupt people to fix the system. It needs to be that if you get jury duty, then you show how much money you make at your job, and they cover it 100%.
And then they would just give poor people. That would be probably the case.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
That's true. And I was called for a jury duty during my immigration process, and I was not even eligible for being in the jury. And they were threatening me. If you don't present yourself this day at the court in Los Angeles, we're going to start a criminal proceeding for breaching your duty. And then I called. I said, listen, I have an exemption because I can't. I can't be there in my current status. So they let me go. But it was pretty odd, I got a jury duty call before my green card.
Wow.
I guess it's how they vote too with the ballots. I don't know how many legal votes here, and I've never been illegal, but how things operates, it looks like they don't do their due diligence well enough.
Another thing it's important to remember is innocent. People are innocent until they're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of any kind. they're innocent, and that's the way the legal system works, and it's got to continue to stay like that.
I think culturally, people think very differently in terms of that now. It's not really just like guilty, innocent until proven guilty. I think that the guilt just sort of gets showered on people, especially if they're a demonized person or a public demonized person. And that makes it even more complicated for, fair application of the law.
Like
It's funny the founding fathers are like innocent until proven guilty, and the people are just like, we don't care.
But that's really kind of the basic, raw human emotion, is just to declare somebody guilty instead of going in the opposite direction, which is what the founding fathers envisioned. Like that's a very base human impulse to just, come with people like a Frankenstein with the fire torches. You just want to take them down.
It really is
kill the bad guy.
A country of restraint. The United States is a country. The Constitution is immense restraint. Those guys understood you have to hold back your willingness and want to use power. That is what this is all about. Let your neighbors be great.
Mm-hmm.
Media makes sentences more than courts today, right?
Yep.
So they brainwash people so much. Think about Trump. Everybody has been accused of so many things, but in the perception, he's guilty of that many things, and those because of the media.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you look at the fraud cases and all this stuff. The judge just bangs the gavel and says it's true, and then you get these people screaming on camera, being like, "It's true, this proves it," and it's like, man.
Yeah.
This is how you get Nazis. It's how you get Stalin. It's how you get communists. Regular people are like, what is that authority? It's true? Okay, it's true then.
It's easier than thinking.
Yep.
It is.
Trust the science. Jimmy Dore's great bit where he's like, on no other subject would someone say this, like you're going to buy a car. It's like, well, don't look into it. It's like, what? How am I supposed to know which car to buy? Ask the salesman. He's the expert. That's how these people live. The authority is everything. Nothing else matters. It's wild. I wonder if it's just like a natural filtration process where credentialism, critical thinkers who are like, I don't know if this guy's telling me the truth regardless of his credentials, are filtered out. And the left is literally just people who believe whatever they hear from a trusted authority.
I don't even know if it's necessarily the leftists. I mean, like, I think about some of the people that I know and some of the people even my family, and like, they're not really leftists. Like, they don't have any kind of like core political ideology that guides them. It's just they just turn on the corporate press and get poisoned by it. The authority.
Whatever the authority says is fine.
And the level of comfort in the country for people, like, if I just go along with what I'm told, I'll get to do this again tomorrow.
Right.
Get to sit in my house and retire.
Yeah, get your dopamine drip from your phone. You have nothing that really overtly like pokes you or prods you into changing anything, because you're like, oh, well, this is nice. I sit with my phone. It's like, oh, well, that's happening outside there. You said in the movie too, like that war's happening over there. It's not happening in my neighborhood. It takes a lot to get to an actual person actually bother them to do anything.
Even people that are like morally ethical can be just twisted by that behavior of like just accepting what you're being told from the outside.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are just trapped in it, hopelessly so, which is really sad. But
yeah, killing critical thinking is the best way to control. So I think it's a technique mastered by every dictatorship on a side or another. Look at Italy and the bad history of fascism some times ago. That was exactly the trust in the authority as you trust God. So you never question, right? So that's really like going to attack the critical thinking, which you should, talk and preserve and teach people how to think.
You talking about Mussolini?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what he did?
Yes. Basically equalizing authority to God. You trust whatever the authority tells you. It's like a God word. So people accept everything you say, even if it's evil. I think the liberals are doing that in America. Everything that comes from their mouth is sacred in many ways, right? Nobody question it. Nobody questioned Joe Biden. Come on.
Was it like that with Do you know a lot about the history of Mussolini? Was it like that before he came to power? Were people just blind authority and
No, he's the one who actually came to power with very good principles, but completely twisting them and pushing them to the extent of using a good facade of values to convince people to believe in him and the authority as God. Let's say it's like liberals talk about inclusion and non-discrimination, but actually they are doing exactly the opposite. They are discriminating everyone who thinks differently. They are everything but liberal when it comes to inclusions, because if you are a MAGA or a right-wing person, you're seen as hell, and actually everything that happens to you, even if somebody kills me today, it's okay because, she was a right-wing propagandist. I've seen that threats on my social media where they feel entitled to hate you based on your political beliefs, and Mussolini was the same. Basically, good values, love family and country, but not just as a facade to give trust to people in the authority, like blind trust, and then make them accept alliances with Nazi without questioning it.
Did he turn on his own people?
Well, Italian Jews, yes.
Oh, he did. Was that after he allied with the Nazis?
Yes.
He just went along with Hitler?
Yes.
Like a lot of people, I've actually considered that he was Hitler's mentor in the early days. Like Hitler looked at him and was like, ooh, that's what a good dictator is like. And Mussolini had invaded, I think, Northeast Africa.
Yes.
And then Hitler was like, I'm just going to invade because everybody's doing it now.
Italy was very safe. It was providing a certain level of general wealth, like people were living well. So people, and then generating into them this trust and this like religious trust in the authority. And this is dangerous.
Because they were doing well, it was able to generate a blind trust.
Yes.
In the authority, because they felt like they were getting their livelihood from the authority.
Yes, and if you hear like old people, even right now, they would say, oh, the good time, like I'm talking about 95 years old people in Italy, the good time of Mussolini, because they are completely cut off, the rest. We just remember the quality of life of this time. But I see that technique in the liberals today in America. They master it so well. Like they actually are masters in projection, and they use nice words to incite people to do bad things. Right? So everything that happened to a Trump supporter is good. Even if the most violent action, harassment, is fine because you're a bad guy. You are the bad guy, right? But then they are the one that promotes inclusion, tolerance. Actually, they scream like psychopaths if you don't agree with them. I mean, there's a level of intolerance that is unprecedented in any culture I've seen in the world. I mean, these people are unhinged.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.